All right, welcome back to the Shade Tree Garage. Today I'm going to do a little review about an accessory that many of you may need, or maybe you don't know that you need it. And it's called a ring light, or any sort of accessory lighting when you're shooting YouTube videos, right? Now, my first ring light I bought a couple of years ago, 13-inch diameter, and actually it folded in half, which was a unique design because then the stand collapsed down into pieces less about a foot long and had a nice little bag. You could pack it all in. And so you could put this 13-inch ring light into a nice compact little package you could put in your back pocket or jacket pocket. Anyway, it was really handy, really portable. Of course, now I'm here in my shop and I don't need to take that ring light anywhere. I used it to help, well, for example, behind this camera, I've got my 55 Chevy wagon. And when I was shooting interior photos of that, I had some sort of auxiliary lighting, including many times that ring light. And it worked well. You could, and there are standard features on ring lights, right? That make them useful. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is that how cheap they are. Now, I will tell you, I am a Temu addict. I purchased my extra lighting that I need from Temu simply because it's cheap. You know, you can get better quality, maybe better quality, but you'll certainly pay twice as much on a site like Amazon, maybe eBay. But here's what I bought a couple of ring lights recently because my well-worn 13-inch ring light finally gave up the ghost. And I'm not sure exactly why. I think the power supply died inside. So I decided to get a pair of ring lights. They were kind of a two for special. Now I've got another light. It's kind of a square LED light, and it has the exact same features as a ring light. Of course, ring lights began, I guess, I don't know the history of ring lights, but I'm guessing they're used for makeup tutorials. In any sort of tutorial where you want your face in the center and you want really nice lighting, and for the video you're shooting. That's why ring lights typically have a camera mount in the middle. Who knew? Anyway, well, I'm not doing makeup tutorials. You know that. But let's talk about this. The ring lights I purchased on Temu recently are identical, but I've got one of them out. The other one's still in the box. I kind of consider the second ring light in case of emergency break glass, you know. But there's some differences between these ring lights and the one I had that made me realize that maybe I was a little hurried in my purchase and I didn't look and check the features of what I was buying versus what I had. Okay? All right, so let's move forward. All right, guys, this is the ring light that I purchased, one of the ring lights. And the stand it's full extension, and that's about 5, maybe close to 6 feet tall. Let me drop it back down. All right, now, it is 10 inches in diameter, and like all ring lights, it has a number of color settings. This is a dimmer white, kind of a warm color. So I prefer the bright white. And of course you can dim the light down to that. And you can increase the intensity. There's several levels of intensity. All right, now, I don't have it here, but there's a mount that screws in here for a telephone mount, which is pretty ubiquitous with ring lights. Almost all of them have some sort of phone mount here. Now, you raise this one back up. Now, this has a really, what I think is a nice feature. Let me get a little closer here. Got to drop my phone down on the stand. a little bit, and this is a separate phone holder that came with the kit, and it attaches anywhere on this mast. It's got a little clamp on the back that holds it, and you can adjust it for any orientation, and it also has a feature to allow it to swivel. That was kind of an unexpected plus that came with this stand. Now I'm not sure what you need this lighting feature for, but it's there. I just wasn't sure how to activate it. Oh, and then you can get green. Well, that's interesting. Well, again, that's an interesting feature. I think I just prefer plain white myself. All right, anyway, let's get back up a little closer here. Let me drop this down a little bit so we can see. All right, now the stand, the upper part extends up a little higher, and there's a clamp here to set it at the height you want. All right, now there's another clamp here. Let's see, let me turn this thing around. Now the bottom also expands, so you can get 5 or 6 feet high with this as is, which isn't bad, which is nice. I don't know many times when I need a stand that extends that high. Now, let me drop this down again. The stand does not go lower than this, okay? That's about 36 inches high or so, 36 to 40. Now, the stand, I've got other ring lights, other lighting that have a collapsible stand that will go down to about a foot or less. Now, let me unscrew this. This actually, you can see it's got a threaded area, and it screws into the base of the stand. Like I say, it doesn't have any collapsing feature, but it screws into the base. So it is it'll knock down into a small section, a very small. It'll knock down into enough short sections. Unfortunately, the ring light, unlike my other one, the ring light doesn't fold. It's 10 inches in diameter no matter how you slice it. So it won't, the stand will compact down into a small package. In fact, there's a case. There's a cloth case with Velcro, and it'll pack into that case. Things like this mount may fit in there. I don't know. Certainly the ring light mount for the phone will fit in that case. The stand, it's got a really nice stand, and you can actually vary the height by your adjustment on the stand, how the angle of the legs. Let me see, you can actually, you can flatten the angle of the legs or increase it. So the legs can have a wider or smaller footprint or a wider footprint. Now obviously a ring light like this doesn't have a lot of weight to balance, so you can adjust that stand to fit whatever your location needs are. All right, now, what doesn't this have? Well, one of the things it doesn't have, and again, I wish I had paid a little more attention at the beginning. All right, let me raise this back up if I can. All right, and All right, this is the ring light screws on to the top of the stand. And if you notice, there's no provision for a tilt feature. It's just screwed on at a 90-degree angle, and what you have is what you have. Now, other ring lights that I've had, even the square light I have, it has the ability to, it pivots. There's a joint up here, and so it can pivot down. You can direct the light exactly where you need it, because it's not always a situation where you want the light going 90 degrees from the face of the ring light. But unless you can adjust the height to hit the target that you're trying to illuminate, you have no ability to tilt this thing forward or upward, wherever your target is you want to illuminate. And that's kind of a shortcoming. I'm not sure it's a big deal. For some of you, it may be a big deal. But just be aware that if you're shopping on Temu for a ring light, make sure that the one that you want to buy has all the features you want. For example, this, like I said, the stand does not collapse beyond about 36 inches. You may want one that gives you the option of being much lower. And then you can illuminate. If you could tilt your ring lights, you could illuminate from a low point upward. I mean, there's lots of options there with lighting. But if your stand won't go low enough, and if this ring light has no pivot feature, you're limited. Okay. It doesn't seem as bright as my old ring light. Of course, it's 3 inches less in diameter, and that may tell the story there. It's got 3 different light temperatures, if you will, to a real solid bright white, to a muted white, to a warmer kind of off-white. And of course, that's depending on your skin tone and maybe what you're trying to illuminate too. Now, again, I don't think this is as bright as my old ring light, but brightness really isn't that big a deal. Most time you use a ring light, at least here in the Shade Tree Garage, when I use a ring light, I'm just trying to add some fill lighting into a situation for better show detail in what I'm doing. Now, this ring light is not going to be as useful as my old one, because I could set the old one in the rear floorboard of my 55 Chevy and drop the stand down low enough to where the ring light would illuminate the dash or wherever I was trying to add some lighting. Not quite as functional as that. I'm sure I could probably make it work. In fact, I could unscrew the ring light and probably set it in the seat or on the floorboard and angle it in a way to make it work. But not every ring light's built the same. And in fact, I was on Temu the other night and saw some with the features that I mentioned that this one doesn't have that others do. And I think this one was probably, I don't know, 11, 12 bucks for this ring light. It'll work, it'll serve its purpose. But if I'd spent a little more money, 13, 14 bucks maybe, total, I could get one with the stand that collapses lower and one with the pivot at the ring light. There you go. So just like any time, all my advice on buying on Temu is be careful what you buy and make sure what you're buying is what's going to do the job for you when you need to use that accessory, whatever it is. All right, well, that's all from the Shade Tree Garage. I'll be back with another review and more whatever's going on here in the Shade Tree Garage. My son just came home from college for this summer. Actually, he graduated. So while he's looking for jobs, and we'll be looking for jobs for him to help us do. All right, stay tuned for the next one, and until then, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time from here in the Shade Tree Garage.